Gareth, I suspect that's pretty tough for the boys to take, isn't it, bearing in mind where you were on days 1 and 2?
Yeah, I think, should have chat out there 15 for 5, I think it was, to firstly kind of potentially let them get to 130. But then I think the game was probably lost in that first innings batting, if I'm being brutally honest. I think we got in a position where we could have really driven the screw in and got 100, 150 ahead potentially, and we didn't cover ourselves in glory with a lot of dismissals through the 2 innings. I think we've acknowledged that and we know that. It's just a pity that's happened, and we find ourselves on the end of a loss, and we should have probably had a W. So the change room's not in a great mood right now, but it's understandable. The boys are devastated to have given that one away.
Yeah, the change in momentum of Jack and Cash, they got out in quick succession, didn't they, on day 1, and that just seemed to, as you say, to shift it.
Yeah, I think you always talk about guys getting in and trying to go big and things like that, and we were one guy away who got into getting an 80 or 100 there and getting well in front, but so that didn't happen, and then we contributed still to get ahead, not as much as we would have wanted, and then we started again with quite nicely with the ball in the second innings to try and peg him back as much as we could, and then the ball got a bit softer, and we couldn't really penetrate that middle order of theirs, and they had a couple of guys who batted really well and put the game. I think it was going to be a tough chase, we knew that, but I think on that wicket we knew that if we got through the first 30, 35 overs, we saw what happened in their second innings, that the pitch does get a bit flatter and a bit easier to bat on. We just couldn't minimise the damage in that first 25 overs. They got us 5 down pretty quickly, and it's going to be an uphill battle turning up today to get over the line.
Yeah, but the way you and Jack started this morning, that first hour, I mean, it looked really good, and then as this game has done, it just seems to change instantly, and the momentum shifts inexorably then.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Jack and I knew walking out there we'd have to put a decent dent in that in terms of partnership, and yes, unfortunately he got quite a good ball there, and to see the back of him, and we couldn't really put together another meaningful partnership after that. I think we did talk this morning about having 2 meaningful partnerships and we'd be close. We got one decent enough partnership, and then after that we scrambled and couldn't get anything together, unfortunately.
Your main half century for Worcestershire, I know in a tough context of the entire match, but do you take any kind of pleasure out of that on some level, despite obviously the overall result?
Being brutally honest, it's not great that it's taken this long to happen, to be honest. I'm bitterly disappointed in myself for the performance I put forward last season and at times this season. So hopefully it's a corner that I've turned, and hopefully I can contribute a bit more than 50 than for the upcoming games.
Yeah, how tough has it been for you?
Yeah, I just think I've struggled. I couldn't really put an actual meaning on why it's happened. I think I've been trying my socks off, trying different things, trying to improve and get out of the slump I was. I feel a lot better this year than I did last year, that's for sure. But yeah, it's a team game, and as a team we're hurting up there, and we're a bit disappointed with how we've performed these 4 days.
Yeah, now you've got a change of focus, I guess. The One Day Cup's just round the corner, but you've got Hereford before then with a bit of a warm up at Eastnall.
Yeah, I think as tough as it is now, you have to acknowledge what's gone on in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, Glamorgan and the last week, so two losses and 1 win. So things we did really, really well in Middlesex, we didn't do in those 2 games. So it's about finding that consistency, which we're lacking at the minute. But the start of a new competition, is something we've got to try and start on a clean slate and put our best foot forward from ball 1 in that competition. That starts on Sunday against Hereford.
You're going to obviously have people like Azor back for the Royal London. That's going to be a real big lift boost, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Experience. It never hurts, and obviously a high quality international player like him will bring a lot of calmness and a lot more confidence. I think with the group, he's been great since he's been here, and we certainly look forward to having him back.
It seems a bit difficult to comprehend what's happened, because you've been on top for so long in games, and is it not quite having the ruthless streak?
I'd like to not think that. I think I'd like to, but when someone puts that argument forward, it's hard to push it back. I think discipline would probably be a better word to use. Lack of discipline, maybe a lack of consistency, as opposed to not having a ruthless streak. But we acknowledge that, and as a collective, we've got to be better in all 3 facets of the game if we want to ultimately compete in all these games, win games, and be close to the top of the table, which is which is what we want to do in all competitions. And yeah, unfortunately, for whatever reasons, we haven't done that today. We haven't done that this season, actually.
I mean, in the Royal London, when we're going to have a pretty strong squad, obviously, so there's no reason why we can't compete and do well.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the thing about momentum, though. You know, you try and say, oh, it's a clean slate, and we've got to start forward, but, you know, but we've got to acknowledge where we are right now, and how we've performed over these last weeks. We've done a lot of great stuff. We just haven't done it potentially for long enough periods of time, and that's going to be the challenge in this 50 over going forward, making sure that we don't have a great 20 overs, we have a great 100 overs, or a very consistent at least 80 or 85 overs to make sure we win games.